Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about the power of habits and how focusing on habits instead of goals is the secret to consistent progress. Goals set direction, but habits create progress. It's the habits that executed consistently turns aspirations into achievements. Now let's talk about why goals win over habits. First reason is that goals are temporary, but habits are forever. Goals are about outcomes, but habits are about systems. A goal may be to write a book, but the habit is to write every day for 15 minutes. When the goal is reached, habits remain, driving ongoing success. For example, a marathon runner may stop training after the race, but a person with running habit will stay fit for life. The second reason that habits are so much more important than goals is that habits remove the willpower from equation. Goals depend on motivation, which is not reliable because we are not motivated most of the days. On the other hand, habits rely on systems, making progress automatic. Once a behavior becomes a habit, it needs little thought or effort. For example, when you brush your teeth, you don't need willpower to brush your teeth because it's a habit. The same can be true for studying, reading, exercising, or any other thing. So now that we know that why habits are more important than goals, let's talk about how to create habits. So the first thing that you want to do is that you have to start small. The biggest mistake that people make is that they aim too high too fast, and this causes a lot of us to fail when we want to build habits. If you start with small habits, it is easier for you to start and maintain them and build your self-confidence for bigger goals. The first thing that you want to do is that pick one activity that is most useful for you right now and do that activity every day for 2 minutes for the next 3 months. Why 2 minutes? Because when you want to do something for 2 minutes, your mind will not resist it because it is a very small period of time and also it doesn't require a lot of energy. The goal here is to practice the art of showing up. You want to show up every day because if you want to build habits, the first thing that you want to do is to establish the habit. You want to get used to that habit first, then you can expand upon it later. So for habits, you establish the habit first and then you expand upon it later. The goal here is consistency, not intensity. For example, if you want to start reading books, start with 1 page every night. Or if you want to start getting fit, do 1 push-up every day. First, master the art of showing up every day for 2 minutes, and after 3 months that you're completely used to it and the habit is established, you can expand upon it and increase it to 30 minutes or even 1 hour every day. But first, don't aim too high too fast because that way the habits will fail because it requires a lot of energy and effort and it is something that your mind is not used to it. You have to start building that habit slowly first. So now I want to talk about the power of streaks and how you can use it to build habits. You can incorporate this to the 2-minute habit that I told you earlier. A streak is a chain of consecutive days that you completed your habit. Streaks are powerful because they turn your daily improvements into a game. Your goal is simple: don't break the chain. What you can do is that you can use a habit tracker or a digital tool or a Google Docs or anything, and you want to track the days that you're completing your habits. For example, you studied for 2 minutes today, you can put an X on that day, or tomorrow you finish your studying, you put a mark on the calendar that you completed this habit for this day. Why streaks work? The first reason is that it creates momentum, because once you start, continuing becomes easier because we all know that starting is the hardest part of establishing any habit, and the longer the streaks get, the harder it becomes to break, because there is something called the sunk cost fallacy, that the more you invest in something, the more you want to continue that. So if you see that, for example, you have continued your streak for 7 days, you are more likely to continue it even more. For example, Jerry Seinfeld, who was a famous comedian, he would put an X mark on his calendar for every day that he wrote jokes, and that way he would track his progress. If you track your streaks, you're actually tracking your progress. The author of the Atomic Habits, James Clear, said that what gets measured gets managed. Streaks and tracking makes your progress more tangible and visible. Every day that you complete your habit for that day and you add a chain to your streak, your brain releases dopamine, which is the chemical for motivation, and it makes you to do that thing even more and more. Because dopamine is released every time that we achieve something, it is the chemical for motivation, and that way your motivation becomes more to continue that chain. So the streaks is pretty simple. You just track the days that you completed your habit. One rule that you should follow while creating your streaks is to follow the 2 days rule. So you should never miss your habit more than 2 days. For 1 day it's okay because maybe some problems happens, but you shouldn't miss it for more than 2 days, because there's a quote that says a habit missed once is okay, but a habit missed twice is the start of a new habit, because now you're getting used to inconsistency and doing other things than focusing on your habit. One important tip is that you should make your streaks easy to maintain. For the days that things get hard, you should lower the bar. For example, some days you're sick, some days you hear a bad news or something. You should have a plan for those days, and you should make the habit so small for that day, because as I mentioned, our goal is consistency, not intensity, because at the first stage we want to establish the habit first before expanding upon it. Why streaks leads to success? Because they build identity. Once you build your habit for 7 days or 2 weeks or a month, and you keep continuing like that, you will change your identity to someone who takes action consistently, and that is how you build your confidence. And also they compound over time, because small daily actions lead to big achievements over time. So here's a challenge for today. Select a goal and break it down to a small daily habit, and do it for 2 or 5 minutes every day for the next 3 months, and track it using the streaks on a habit tracker or a digital tool. So that's all I got for today. If you like this video and you can relate to these types of videos, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.